My name is Rita Payne, and I was born in Niles, Ohio. I graduated from high school in 1938, and when I finished high school, I heard about the Army was going to start with the women, and I became very, very interested. Well, I tried to do something about it at that time, and they said I couldn't join until I was 21. So I went into hairdressing. I was a hairdresser. And at 21, I just quit, and I went right in, and I signed up, and I passed every test, and I was stationed at Scottsfield, Illinois, in the Air Force.
What year was that?
That was in 1940, 42, I think, yeah. And so I was in Scottsfield for 6 months, and when the war became imminent, they started asking for women. They needed women over there, typists, and I was a good typist in high school. So I signed up for that, and I was chosen. And in December, I waited, and they put me into Scottsfield, Illinois. I stayed there for 6 months, and then I went. They called for us, and we got on. We took a test, passed all the tests, went to New York, and boarded a ship with the fellas, and we had a grand send-off. I remember that much. And we landed in Cheltenham. We landed in, where was it? In England. I can't remember the name now. But anyway, we were stationed at Cheltenham, England, and we were there until they called up one day, and they said, be ready, we're going to be going places. And so we had our foot lockers ready. You know, we had combat boots. We were dressed like soldiers. And when we were going to board the bus, we had a call, and it said, you're soldiers now. You will not ask any soldier to carry your duffel bag. Your duffel bag was full. A blanket, a pillow, a change of clothes, anything that you needed in the way of other articles. And so we went on took the bus and went on to the ship. We went to Normandy. Normandy had already been taken, and General Eisenhower had already had his women over there as soon as it was okay to go. And then after he left, the women got the place all ready for us, and then we boarded a ship, and we went over there. We went got off the ship, camped overnight on the ground, took a bus, and our mess kits were all ready for us. And when we stayed in pup tents. We stayed in pup tents over there, and we had little places where we worked, and we had a lot of fun there. And our mess hall was in a big field, and everything was out in the open.
In a big tent?
Yeah, And no tent, no, it was open. And the bees were all in the the bees, I can remember, were all in the
food.
And it was terrible. But we managed, and then when it was time to leave, we got on a bus and we started for Paris. And when I can remember on the bus, and they said, with quite a ways, and we went so far, and some of the people were outside greeting us, and we could see all the damage and everything. And so they stopped the bus.
Happy to see you.
Yeah. And they stopped the bus, and they said, now, this is your stop to go. Go find a place. And can you imagine?
Go find a place.
The men and the women. We had to go look out in the trees. Well, I found a place for me. And by the time I got up, what do you think was on the side there? A swastika. Yeah, a little swastika. I still have it. My son-in-law has it. And so when we got back on the bus then, I said to everybody, look what I found. They said, oh, maybe you better turn that in. I said, nope, this is mine. So I took it all the way home with me. So we got to Paris, and we were stationed right at the Champs-Élysées. And I had met a nice fellow over in England, and we became very friendly. And so We traveled around in pairs. We had to be very, very careful because there was still some shooting and things all around there. But we had all kinds of parades and everything, and that's where I got my tech sergeant pin here, and I had all my pins here. And we stayed there. We were there a year and a half, and I had enough points that I could go home. And so my friend said he had made me a little ring out of a piece of something that he found in one of the workshops. And he said, "Now this is yours. Now you go home because I'm coming home shortly after you, and we're going to get married." And so I did. I got home, and he came home, and the two of us were married. We had nobody, just the two of us. And we went right to, when he landed there, he waited for me to come on the bus, and I came, and we were married. And we lived happily ever after until he passed away 19 years ago. And I never remarried. But I have 4 beautiful daughters, 66, 64, 61, and 58. And the 66-year-old was a Vietnam veteran. And she went right after college, and she came back, and she was fine until 9/11 came, and everything broke loose. So I had to send her away to a place because the Army had no place for her. But she's doing fine now. She's doing fine. She has a rescue dog and a cat. And so that's my story.
Well, Rita, could you
It could go on and on, but
could you tell us a little bit about what type of work that you did in Normandy and then in Paris?
Well,
with the typing and
Well, they were always getting these notices from the main place, you know. And see, some of my words don't fit in, but anyway. And
corporate headquarters.
And I took dictation. And so they would dictate the letters to me a lot of times. And then sometimes we took phone calls from Washington, and I would take a phone call, and then
write down the message.
Write down in shorthand, and I'd pass it on in longhand. But I was a good typist.
So you were taking.
They were very happy with that.
You were taking dictation for the officers.
Yes. I worked for a captain, and he was under the colonel. And the boy that I liked drove for the colonel. So, he would always come over when it was lunchtime, and he'd say, "Come on, let's go down to the mess hall and eat." So it was nice. We were in groups. There was nobody that singles. We were always in groups. And we had to be very careful wherever we were, about different things. So,
what division were you in, or regiment, or?
In ordnance. We took care of all the waterproofing of the vehicles that were going over to Normandy.
Oh.
But I will never forget Normandy.
When
we landed there, oh my, the devastation. I have a picture of it somewhere. The devastation was
Did you
terrible.
personally see any bullets fly or bombs go off in any kind?
The what?
Did you personally see any bullets fly or bombs go off?
Oh, no.
Okay.
It was secured. It was secure. We could not go. I have a very nice letter from General Eisenhower in a little small book that he wrote, and it tells how proud he was of all the work that we did, not only in England, but also in France, in any other place where the troops were. But we were always with the troops. We followed the troops wherever they went.
So you were safe.
Oh yeah, we were safe. But it was a great experience, and I would do it again if I had it. If I were young, I would do it again.
Can you tell us about the patches that are on your sleeve there? That was actually your uniform, right?
This one here, when we got to England, we were presented with this patch here.
Show it.
And yeah,
there, that's good.
What did I call it?
What does that mean? It's when you got to England.
Oh yeah, I can't remember now, honey. So many things have gone through. I can't remember.
Well, we can figure that out.
Yeah.
And then, what are your ribbons there?
Oh, the ribbons were. I used to know every one of them. There's a WAC ribbon, and there's a Army, the Army Corps, and there's oh gosh, there's so many of them. For all the things that they went through, that the troops went through. They had ribbons made up for them, And then they gave us all the ribbons that and see, I have the Bronze Star. I have the Bronze Star.
Wow. That's
and,
cool.
And this was a WAC ribbon there.
And then your patch on the side, what does the T mean?
That's technical. I was a tech sergeant.
Ah.
That's as high as you could go without becoming a master sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
And they always said I deserved that. I was very, very good secretary.
Oh.
So I got that in 3 years, and that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good, because when I went over, I was a buck sergeant.
Private, huh?
A private, and then I became a sergeant. Then I went over, and then got staff sergeant, and then tech sergeant. So, but we also had good times too when we got to Paris. We were over to do some traveling. I went to Scotland, and I went to Belgium. I have pictures of my scrapbooks from Belgium and Scotland, and we had good times. We were allowed some free time, So
Did you find that the people were thankful for what the Americans did?
oh yes. When we were on that bus coming back, going to Paris, they were lined in the streets. And they were all, just yelling and clapping. It was really something to see. It was really very, very nice. You become very nostalgic and you want to cry, but it was a very, very, very nice. I enjoyed that.
They understood that, when the Americans came,
Yes.
I mean, they were in trouble, really,
That's right.
until the Americans and the British
That's right.
helped them out.
Exactly. Can I read that letter that we got
Sure.
from General Eisenhower?
Yeah.
It's
Cut
a
that
short
down.
one,
Cut-
honey.
Sure,
Look
sure.
down and read.
Okay,
Okay,
read
ready?
it now.
Okay.
Read it now.
Well,
Okay.
tell about the book.
Oh, the book was written by General Eisenhower's girls. He had girls that could do most anything, and they wrote this book after the war was over, and they passed it out to several people, and I was fortunate enough to get one of them. And in it tells all the things that the girls had to do. Oh, they were busy. They were under bombs in London, everything. But he took his girls wherever he went, and they went right with him. And here is the letter that General Eisenhower wrote in tribute to Colonel Hobby, who was our WAC director. During the time I had WACs under my command, they met every test and task assigned to them. I have seen them work in Africa, Italy, England, here in France, at army installations throughout Europe, throughout the European theater. Their contribution in efficiency, skill, spirit, and determination is immeasurable. Outstanding. In 3 years, the Women's Army Corps has built for itself an impressive record of conduct and service and has given the womanhood of America every right to be proud of their accomplishments. Isn't that nice? Yeah. I had another copy of this, but some of my papers got lost. But this is what everybody got.
That's fantastic. Sharon.
And he talked to us before we went over to Normandy too.
Eisenhower.
Yeah. We got to see him.
He designed that jacket, didn't he?
Yes. They're Eisenhower jackets.
Didn't they call it the
And that's what we wore, because we came back in fatigues and combat boots and those big pants that we wore. We had nothing. So we came back with all that stuff.
So you had several friends that were women that you worked with also? That were
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Did you keep in touch with them?
Yes, some of my friends have passed away. I have one left, and she is outside of Tampa, and we come back and forth on the phone, and I visited her one time, and she was married over there. She married the fellow that she worked for. And he passed away. He passed away right after my husband did, because we got together one time. But she and I still go together. But she just can't get over me, that I'm still working on my 2 legs, and she's not doing too well. But she's very, very, very close to me. So I've just had a very good life.